Welcome back to another episode of the Paradigm Shift. I am Rob, back with Jesse. What's going on, buddy? How you doing today, man?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm excited to talk about today's topic. I have had a brain drain of a week, and this one requires no brain power. So let's get it going.
That's a compliment. It's a backhand compliment. Yes. The topic today is because we covered Marvel in the past, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it was very, very well received by our viewers. So we're going to kind of hone in on the next Marvel movie coming to theaters this summer, which is Spider-Man Brand New Day. We're going to unpack it a little bit today. We're going to talk about how it relates back to the Spider-Man cartoon, the most popular one back from the 90s, and how it relates to the previous Spider-Man movies, like with this rendition of Peter Parker, right? I can't remember the kid's name right now for some reason. It's Tom Holland.
Tom Holland, yeah. But
Yeah.
remember, his new name is now Tom.
Right. Yeah. It's like Prince and
Yeah. No last name.
Cher. Thomas Holland. Personally, I'd like to start with Tom Holland. Now, personally, he's my favorite Spider-Man. I'm gonna say it. I liked Tobey Maguire, was great, and I know people will argue and say, well, Tobey Maguire was the best Spider-Man. I think that there's just a little bias there. He was the first good Spider-Man in recent history, right?
Okay. Fair enough.
Being the first doesn't necessarily mean you're the best. Was he good? Absolutely. Great. I like him as Spider-Man. You could also say the same thing for Garfield there, with Andrew Garfield, right?
Mm-hmm.
Spectacular Spider-Man or whatever his movies were. He did a pretty decent job. He's the weaker of the three, obviously, when it comes to the movies. But Tom Holland, I gotta say, and I think it's my favorite probably because it came to fruition within the current structure of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. All of the engagement with Robert Downey Jr. and Iron Man, a lot of crossover there. And I think that maybe just be my bias, but I love though that they've brought Garfield and Tobey Maguire back, and they've brought them into the cinematic universe. Quick side note: allegedly, Tobey Maguire is actually being Spider-Man in the new Avengers Doomsday movie. They're bringing him back again to play Spider-Man.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's back. They are bringing Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine in that because they're bringing the mutants in. So they're bringing like basically all the people who originally played a lot of these characters, bringing them into just from different areas of the multiverse, right? And I think it's fascinating, and I think it's amazing that they're able to do that, right? Because I think fans really love that nostalgia of Hugh Jackman as Wolverine and Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man and so on and so forth, right? Even what's his name as Green Goblin? What was his?
William Dafoe?
Yes, William Dafoe. Yeah, even him as the Green Goblin, fantastic, right?
Yeah, well, if you think about it, like the idea of the multiverse is genius because you can bring back these former actors to play the roles that they're not playing anymore. You can sort of take the new guy out of the role for a little while. You can flip it backwards, forwards. It's kind of a neat idea, really.
Check that out.
There you go.
Man.
He's up right on your shoulder now. Just your neighborhood Spider-Man.
Just hanging, clanging, and banging. I mean, to throw back. Well, actually, let's talk first about the, how it plays into the current rendition of Spider-Man, that the Tom Holland Spider-Man. I think that they've been getting progressively better and better, and I love the fact that he's sticking around more than three movies, right?
Yeah.
Like individual movies. He was also in a couple of the Avengers movies, but like three of them, I think. But to have him as an actor sticking around, it's always fun. I mean, yes, now they have this easy way to segue into a new actor playing a character by way of the multiverse, right? it makes sense. It so that fans can kind of go, okay, well, I accept that as part of the storyline then, right? As opposed to just plopping a new actor in there. Here you go.
Right. It's not like Game of Thrones when they replace people and you're like, that's not who you're telling me it is.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, in the comics, they're staying true to the comics in that aspect, because in the comics, whenever they switched somebody else out to play, whether it was like a new version of Captain Marvel or Spider-Man or whomever, there was a storyline as to why that mantle got passed. Captain America's another one, right? And it made sense for fans, and you have to do that, right? So I think that might be part of the difficulty of casting people as well. Maybe they put that into the contracts when they originally cast people to play these actors, is like, look, if in the eventuality that you're deciding you don't want to play the character anymore, or we don't want you to play the character anymore, there has to be a segue where the mantle is being passed, and it has to make sense to the character and to the storyline. Otherwise, we can't cast you.
Yeah, I could totally see that. Thinking about Spider-Man, you know what else I think is really neat with Spider-Man is that you've got. So I agree with you. I think Tom Holland's probably the best Spider-Man, right? And I've seen, the hype of like my son's generation, like that's their top movie, that's their top guy. They love it. But what's also interesting, I think, with Spider-Man, it kind of reminds me of the sports team where I live, right? So NFL team, they play 7-8 games a year, but that's only 7 or 8 days a year. So it's like, how do you fill up the rest of the year? Well, they add an events hall attached to it. Now they have concerts year round. Okay. And I think in Spider-Man, the brand, they've sort of done the same thing where, yeah, you've got like the main movie with Tom Holland and Tobey Maguire and Garfield, et cetera. But then you also have like the animated movie with the kid that I actually thought those were really good. And then I don't know if you've seen it. There's like a dark one now with Nicolas Cage. Have you seen that?
Well, first of all, you're talking about the cartoon one that's Into the Spider-Verse. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I really like that. Into the Spider-Verse was awesome.
Yeah. There's a dark one with Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, there's a Spider-Man like spin-off thing where it kind of reminds me of remember that movie Sin City? That it's sort of like that dark noir kind of theme. It's like that, but it's Spider-Man, and it's Nick Cage as the actor.
Well, Spider-Man Noir is actually a version of Spider-Man in the multiverse.
Well, maybe they're bringing in Nick Cage then at some point, because remember he played he played the guy on the bike. I can't think of his name, with the flaming skull, right? But it never really took off. What's that?
Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider, exactly. Yeah, but that was like a long time ago. And so now he's getting to play the Spider-Man Noir version, I guess.
Well, that would be pretty cool because, yeah, Spider-Man Noir is actually a black and white character, even when he's interacting with all the other Spider-Mans and stuff. When the Spider-Verse kind of does this,
yeah,
he's still black and white and wearing the trench coat and the hat and stuff like that. So he's still has that look, the noir look, and he's black and white, but he's got the Spider-Man mask under the hat and stuff. So it's actually a pretty interesting character for sure.
Yeah, I find that really neat. I don't know what it was about those Sin City movies. That first one, I loved that movie, which we could probably do a whole episode on that alone. But I think it's neat that Spider-Man's doing that,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked to see them bring that character into the because from what I understand about the Avengers Doomsday is a two-part movie, and from what I understand, that it's where all the multiverses collide together and all the characters come across. So you're probably going to see a couple different versions of Wolverine and whomever else, right? So I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if you saw Henry Cavill. He did a cameo. Yeah, he did a cameo in Deadpool. I think you recall the Deadpool movie with Wolverine.
What was he?
He was Wolverine.
What?
Yeah, he
He's
did because
Superman. He can't be Wolverine.
he was. Yeah, because so what happened was, uh, Deadpool was going from multiverse to multiverse trying to find Wolverine to help him on this mission, right? And so he kept going to all these ones, and he kept getting like he was like a version of Wolverine where Wolverine was currently like in the battle with the Hulk, and he gets smacked away from the Hulk, and because he just interrupts his battle between the Hulk and Wolverine, and then one of them he comes to, it's Henry Cavill,
Cavill.
Henry
Cavill.
Cavill
Yeah.
as Wolverine, and obviously Deadpool breaks the fourth wall, and he's like, "We'll treat you so much better here than they did over there."
That's really funny. They still want him to be the fans like are craving for him to be Superman,
Yeah. But he looked absolutely amazing as Wolverine too.
Yeah.
It was like he was jacked up and everything too, and it was just they had his hair and his chops going and everything, and you were just like, that would make sense to bring him back to kind of take over the mantle of Hugh Jackman at some point if Hugh's ever finished, right?
Yeah.
Or just to have two Wolverines. I mean, they got 3 Spider-Mans right now, so
Hey,
who knows? Yeah, but I wouldn't be shocked to see him back. Fans also clamor for Tom Cruise to play Iron Man, right?
Tom Cruise is Iron Man.
Yeah, you didn't see that when they released Avengers, not Infinity War, but the second Endgame. No, which was second? Endgame was the second one, right? Marvel was actually smart enough to leak out multiple rumors that were not true on purpose because they didn't want anybody to know what was going to happen.
Those sneaky people at Marvel.
Yeah. So it might have been actually the Doctor Strange movie that it was, Multiverse of Madness. I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
Either way, so they actually released photos and everything of Tom Cruise as Iron Man.
Really?
Oh yeah, like I can't remember, Ultimate Iron Man or something like that, where he actually has the Infinity Stones and his mask doesn't cover his face, goes around his head like that, and his hair's out, and you can see Tom Cruise's face. And
oh wow,
they leaked all that stuff out there. Obviously, they probably got Tom Cruise's permission, right? He probably got a chuckle out of it. But ever since then, fans have been clamoring for that to happen. So, Marvel does tend to kind of do that kind of stuff for the fans, because if they brought in, for example, Tom Cruise to play Iron Man, that's going to give you box office. I mean, people are going to go, especially the anticipation. They've been waiting since the Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
So who knows? But I'm really excited for this. They're calling it a reset of the Marvel Universe. And I think that this Spider-Man movie is kind of a reset in a way for the character, because watching the trailer, one of the things I picked up on was a subtle like maturation of maturing of the Peter Parker character from a kid to an adult.
Yeah.
Right. You're kind of making that, you get that transition, not just like metaphorically as he's as we get the throwback, which we'll get into, about how he's his DNA is kind of mutating and stuff, and he's changing in that way. But he's also changing as Peter Parker from the boy to the man.
Yeah. Watching the trailer earlier, it got me thinking about that last movie, and I kind of forgot about how they sort of had to like undo everything, and now he doesn't, like, nobody knows, like all his best friend doesn't know him, she doesn't know him. I kind of forgot about that part, and watching that, I kind of felt sad. I'm like, like none of them know him now, and now he's just like by himself.
And they're living their best lives without him too.
Right?
I've never been happier.
That's what you always want to like tell yourself. If I'm not there, they're really going to miss me. It's like, maybe not.
That's funny. Yeah, and and I think that kind of is part of the building blocks of him, doing that, making that transition, because he is in all of the other movies. He is very impulsive and childish and impatient as a character, as Peter Parker. And I think we are, like I said, starting to see that maturation of him turning into a man, accepting his decisions and the consequences of what he's doing. And I find it interesting. I want to know how far they're going to push the envelope when it comes to the throwback to the 90s cartoon, where he does full out turn into a massive man spider versus Spider-Man, where he grows all the limbs, just turns into a giant spider man. A man spider. They call him Man Spider instead of Spider-Man. I don't know if you saw that in the cartoon.
No.
And I think that he ends up. It's in a time frame where I can't remember if it's Madam Web that saves him or something. Because Madam Web, they did make a Madam Web movie, which was kind of. I mean, they really should redo that because it just didn't tie into the rest of the Marvel universe. But she was kind of the conduit for Spider-Man and the Spider-Verse jumping around. She was the one pulling all the different versions of Spider-Man from all the different realities and stuff like that, right? So I don't know how far they're going to push that envelope, because another thing that I noticed from the trailer was he wakes up and he's in this massive web in a building, like, tucked under a ledge on a building, right?
Yeah.
And he's like trying to shoot webs. But in the last Spider-Man movie, they made a big deal out of the fact that Tobey Maguire was the only version of Spider-Man that produces his own webs from his body. The other two have to make in a lab their own webbing cartridges and load up their. But he's like this with no shirt on. There's nothing, and he's trying to shoot webs and stuff like that. So how did that webbing? Where'd that webbing come from? And are they going to transition him into full out turning into a spider? And are they just keeping that out of the trailer?
Interesting. It's kind of funny, as you're saying that, I'm thinking this is where sometimes I feel really dumb watching Marvel, because it all like connects, right? And if you don't catch these little things, you don't really put it together later. It's kind of like, I feel like I need to go back and like watch it all yet again and like make sure I'm not missing anything,
Oh, they drop Easter eggs like crazy.
Oh.
I've watched the entire in chronological order. I've watched the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe multiple times from beginning to end, right? As it's supposed to fit into the storyline. And I still pick up things that I missed or things I forgot, because there's just so much. It's a lot of TV to watch, right?
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But I like this reset, like I said, that they're doing, because they did kind of veer. There was some things that I liked about the Marvel Universe in this previous kind of rendition. Like, I liked the fact that they were bringing She-Hulk in. I don't like that it was kind of a leftist version of She-Hulk, so to speak. I liked that she broke the fourth wall, kind of like Deadpool. Mm-hmm. But the question you have to ask, though, is She-Hulk the character to do that with? Right? Yeah. She-Hulk is not a character that's supposed to really be funny. Right? Do you look at the Hulk and think comedy? Not generally.
No, right? I think Hulk smash, right?
Yeah. And I mean, she's his cousin. Right?
Yeah. So, She-Hulk smash.
Yeah, but I think that they could bring that character into the movies and try to make us forget about the show altogether, because they did say that was the plan, was that they were going to reset things and they were going to start to act as though the previous couple years of Marvel didn't happen. Right?
Oh, that's weird.
Don't look here, it's gone. That's right. Wipe it out. It didn't happen. There's little things that they're going to bring in, obviously, like Shang-Chi and stuff like that, because they need those characters. He's going to be in the Avengers Doomsday as well. But outside of that,
let me ask you something. So, in the Marvel universe, what do you think about the time before Stan Lee's death and the time after, kind of going into Spider-Man and everything? Do you think they've missed a beat, or do you think they've kept it up at the same pace, or do you think they're doing a big reset and they're gonna go full blast? What do you think?
I do think that they kind of went in a different direction almost right after his death. So clearly he didn't have any creative, they were lacking that creative input from him and the
Yeah,
essence of these characters that he created, right? But I think that what they're doing is trying to get back to that. I think that they're steering back towards being true to the comics and the storylines of the comics, which is why they're bringing in, you know, Doomsday, and they're bringing in uh, Battle Planet, right? That's all a massive storyline in the comics, and I think that they're steering back into, since you don't have Stan Lee, you can steer into the stories he wrote and try to be true to that, right? And I think that's kind of what they're doing, and I think that that's what made them successful before.
yeah, yeah. I could see that. I know you and I talked about Daredevil Reborn before, but that's kind of what they're doing with that show too. They're kind of steering into what it was, but also taking it forward in a new way. And it seems like they're kind of doing that in the Marvel Cinematic Universe as well. That we kind of had that era of, it seemed like they just had like one hit after another, and then obviously it just built and built and built. And you always had that like Stan Lee cameo in every single movie that was just awesome. And then I think in the time after, it's like I feel like there maybe been a few flops here and there, or maybe movies that just didn't hit as well as they could have, or even like on the show front. Sometimes on the show, like on the shows, I feel that it almost feels like Disney is sort of like grasping, like they're going a little too far in some of these. And it's like, yeah, I get it. You're trying to get different demographics. I get it. And you're trying to engage everybody. But then when you try and bring it all together, it's very challenging. You know what I mean? It's kind of like you're never going to appeal to everybody, but I feel like they're trying to appeal to everybody, you know?
Yeah, there was a couple of mistakes. I think a couple of turns they made that were mistakes, like casting wise. Obviously, you know my thoughts on Brie Larson as Captain Marvel, and her bringing her political beliefs public, and kind of ruining the character for me. But they did try to steer in like a girl power kind of a direction for a little while, and I don't know if it was well received because it wasn't necessary. Right? There was strong female characters in all of the movies.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You didn't need to kick men out of it and try to make this girl power type. I mean, there was cool parts. You can have cool parts of the movies, like in Avengers Endgame. There was this cool scene where all the female characters were in that one scene, and like we'll escort her and stuff, and it was just like goosebumps. Like, that's awesome. They all came together and blah blah blah. Right?
Yeah.
That was awesome. But you don't need to shove it down our throats, right? Like the whole Miss Marvel, the second rendition of that movie, I think it was like three female characters, and all the men that were characters in the movies were basically imbeciles, and couldn't, just completely incompetent in every, everything. And you didn't need to. There's, like I said, you don't have to do that because there's strong female leads in every Marvel movie that I can think of. You've got Jane Foster, who turns into the female version of Thor, right? She gains his power. You've got Black Widow. You've got Miss Marvel in the Avengers movies, right? You've got there's plenty of strong female characters. It's not like there was a lack of them.
Yeah. So speaking of that, I'm thinking about casting. So in the new Spider-Man movie, right? They're bringing back Zendaya as MJ.
Mhm.
What do you think about her being cast as MJ? Because what's kind of funny with that whole thing is that I think when they originally cast them, I sort of looked at her like, would she really be his girlfriend? Like, come on, like these two don't look like they'd go together at all. But then,
No.
ironically, in real life, they do go together and they're married. you know?
Yeah, which probably will end up being a divorce down the road. I mean,
I don't know though. I don't know. Didn't you did you ever hear where I think it was Tom Holland maybe you told me this. Somebody told me this where like in between the movies, he was like working at like an Irish pub or something as a bartender. Did you ever hear this?
No.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's kind of an interesting character, you know. So you know, I mean obviously he's playing the role of Peter Parker. That's not necessarily who Tom Holland is. So but you know, I did kind of think early on, I thought I don't know if I would have cast her as MJ, but at the same time kind of going back to the other Spider-Verses, I also didn't really like Kirsten Dunst as an MJ either with Tobey Maguire. I didn't really like her as the MJ. I didn't think she was a very good fit for whatever reason.
Yeah, and she had a real, again, it's another one of those things where the actor brings their personal shit right into focus, and that was Kirsten Dunst. I remember one of the reasons they stopped making the Tobey Maguire versions of Spider-Man. One of the reasons was because she wanted to get paid the same amount of money as Tobey Maguire playing Spider-Man,
Okay.
right? And she made a big deal about it. She was like on TV talking about how, she should get paid that much. And it's like, why should he get paid more? Well, the movie's called Spider-Man, not Mary Jane Watson, right?
Mm,
He's the lead character in the movie,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that, and that's the attitude. And I find that a lot of times, I shouldn't say a lot of times it's the female actors, but just that's what's coming to the top of my head. It was the same thing. She wanted that money. She wanted to get paid the same as the lead actor because she felt she deserved it. And there was another actress. I can't remember. Oh, Brie Larson again. She went on like national television and talk or at the awards or whatever. I can't remember the Oscars. Is that what it is?
Okay.
And
Okay. Yeah. Could have been.
She talked about. I remember watching her. She was talking about how she's proud to be a trailblazer, being the first lead female in an action movie ever. And I was just kind of like, "Are you smoking something?" Like, go down the list from. You can go back to the 80s, the 70s. You could go back and you could name off so many females who played lead roles. Sigourney Weaver, for starters,
Yeah.
in the Alien franchise, one of the most successful franchises of its time, right?
Yeah.
Was a female lead.
What about what's her name in Tomb Raider? Was that Angelina Jolie or whoever
Yeah.
Tomb Raider was, right?
Yeah, Angelina Jolie.
Yeah, that was an action movie.
Yeah, there's you could go down the list. There's so many lead females, and what she said was basically disrespectful to every female who came before her. That she was the first ever female lead in an action movie for Miss Marvel, and it was just like, you are. I don't know, maybe you have strong female leads in the same saga.
Yeah.
Basically, just backhanded. What's her name? Black Widow.
Yeah.
What's her name again? I can't remember her name.
Scarlett
Johansson.
Yeah.
You basically just bitch slapped her in the face.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, yeah, she's been here the whole time.
Yeah, since like Iron Man 2 or something like that, right? So you get a couple. Some of those actors, when it comes to casting, they make that mistake. It's almost like you should put gag orders on these imbeciles when they sign contracts. You should put it into the contracts. Keep your political beliefs and stuff like that to yourself, right?
Yeah.
No one cares, and stop. Don't come up here and act like a victim, like you've been suppressed and like you just won the right to vote for women or something like that in 2026. Like, what the hell are we talking about?
Yeah. Yeah. That's funny. I think with her, it's kind of like she just needs to stay in her lane, right?
Yeah. But you have imbeciles on the male side too, don't get me wrong. I mean, from what I was reading, Tom Holland and what's the guy's name that plays Bruce Banner, the Hulk?
Oh, Um,
I can't remember his name offhand.
um, Mark Ruffalo.
Yes. Apparently, those two have an extremely hard time keeping their mouths shut. So they actually had to send them fake scripts
I did hear about this. Yeah.
so they didn't leak, right? Everything that happens. So,
That's really funny.
yeah, so it's not just the women. Those, guys, there's some bad. But the thing is, those guys are great. They fit into the roles,
Yeah.
right? And Brie Larson would have fit into Captain Marvel perfectly too. She didn't bring her personal shit into it.
Okay, so going to Zendaya, um, I've never heard any of her views on. Now I could just be tone deaf or disconnected from reality, but I've never heard any of her views on anything, truthfully. And the thing with her though is I like her as an actress. I like her as a person. I still don't know if I like her as MJ. Like I think I picture her in like the Dune movies with like the thing in her nose, and I picture her from Euphoria as like the drugged out high school kid. So I have a really hard time imagining her as Peter Parker's girlfriend, you know?
Well, I think it was a risky little game they played with not just casting her, but the version of Mary Jane that they were writing in with her, right? Because even the character itself is not your traditional Mary Jane.
No. No.
She
And she's like a tomboy, right?
yeah,
And I don't picture Mary Jane as a tomboy. I picture her more like feminine, you know?
yeah, go get him, Tiger. That's what she calls him, right? Tiger.
Yeah.
Now, in saying that, I can appreciate the wit that she brings to the character for sure. If I'm looking at that character that she plays, that rendition of Mary Jane Watson, it's not even Watson, it's Mary Jane something else. If I'm looking um, in a tunnel or through a scope, just at her, excluding every other version of Mary Jane that I know, I like the character and I like the person who plays it.
Mhm.
Right? She's witty, she's funny, um, for sure. I can appreciate that. But then when you zoom out and you compare her to who Mary Jane Watson's supposed to be, but for me, it's not really that big of a deal. That's, you know, I don't know, it doesn't bother me that much. But I agree with you. It's not the traditional Mary Jane Watson at all. It's not Toby's Mary Jane.
No, no, not at all. Like again, I'm going from like a blonde Mary Jane to like a sort of tomboy New York Mary Jane. It's just
But,
kind
but
of
look at Andrew Garfield's version. It wasn't even. It was Gwen. Well, what the hell was her last name? It was Gwen. Um, that he was in love with, not even Mary Jane
hmm.
in those movies.
You talking about Paltrow?
No, no, Gwen is the character's name.
Oh,
Gwen
the
is
character's Gwen. Okay,
yeah,
okay, you threw me off there.
yeah, because Gwen, I can't remember her last name, but Gwen actually is a character in all the Spider-Man stuff. But she's just a side character, kind of like Flash Gordon before Flash becomes Venom, right?
Okay, okay.
So she is there. She's a character, but for Spider-Man to, fall in love with her and all that stuff, as opposed to Mary Jane, that was a little different as well.
So, what do you think about in the trailer? They showed Spider-Man going up against some ninjas.
Yeah, I'm not. I think thinking back to the cartoon and stuff like that and the comics, I do think that he had to go through some trials at some point where there was almost like Batman, where if you recall the first new version,
Yeah, he's in like Tibet or wherever, right?
yeah, in that clan or whatever that trains them and all that stuff, and then
Yeah,
they come
yeah.
back. It's a similar situation from what I understand from the comics for Spider-Man, where he gets tested and they come after him, and I don't know in the movie if they're trying to legit take him out, or if it's just a test or whatever the case might be. But it's kind of like that from the Batman movie. So
You know what it
Batman,
reminds me of? It reminds me of in the Marvel shows from Netflix. They had a lot of ninja type stuff. Whether it was with the Iron Fist, I think it was that plot line had the ninjas, as well as Daredevil had him
yep.
as well, where he was against. I think they referred to him as the Hand, right? But then in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they had the what was it, Shang-Chi or whatever in the rings. That I thought that was a really cool movie, and they never really did anything with it after that. So maybe
Well,
that's what it is.
they are bringing him into the Avengers Doomsday movie.
Okay, cool.
So they're keeping that character. Another thing that's has been highly anticipated is Tom Hardy's rendition of Venom showing up in the Spider-Man movie as well. Now, there's no sign of that in the trailer, but again, that doesn't mean it's not going to happen, because I don't know if you saw the last Venom movie, but in the after credit scene, him and Venom were watching the news, and Tom Holland's Spider-Man, was on the TV, and it was that scene where J. Jonah Jameson reveals the identity of Spider-Man, and Venom's like, "We know him, right?" And it's like, and then he like licks the screen or whatever, and so the implication is that he's going after Spider-Man, right?
Interesting.
That's why it's anticipated that Venom shows up in this movie, but they haven't shown him in this movie. Who knows? Maybe that's for the next Spider-Man movie. Maybe at the end of this Spider-Man movie, he shows up. But then you have other characters that I enjoyed, like Kraven the Hunter. Did you watch Kraven the Hunter, the movie?
No, I don't know that one.
Okay, well, Kraven the Hunter, he's a pretty significant enemy of Spider-Man, right? I would highly recommend watching it. Rhino is in that movie. So I would go watch that for sure. Put on your watch list, because at the end of it, do you mind if I spoil a bit of it for you? I won't.
Hey, why not? Why not? I mean, it's Marvel. I'm never going to keep up with all of it.
Go watch it. Go watch it. I won't spoil it for you. There's characters in there that are significant in the Spider-Man comics and shows, right?
Okay.
And I'm wondering as well, because the guy who played, you've seen Superbad?
Yeah.
Or not, Kick-Ass, Kick-Ass. Have you seen that movie? The superhero kid with the green outfit gets beat up all the time and stuff. The guy who plays Kick-Ass, he's also, I think, in, have you seen Bullet Train with Tom Cruise?
Yeah.
You know the guy with the brass knuckles punches his way back in? The white dude whose brother is black or whatever?
Okay. Yeah.
That guy, the white guy, plays Kraven. I can't remember his name.
Okay.
He's pretty jacked up now and stuff, but he does a fantastic job playing Kraven, right?
Okay, cool.
So I'm hoping they bring him into the Marvel unit. Well, that was a Marvel movie, but I'm hoping they bring him into this as well, right?
So let's talk about Spider-Man specific bad guys. What do you think about the bad guys for the Spider-Man movies? Because we had the Green Goblin, we had Dr. Octopus, whatever he was, with the tentacle arm things. Who else did we have for the Spider-Man movies?
Morbius. Yeah, you have Scorpion is in this one. They just in the trailer they showed Scorpion in this one. You've got Venom. You've got Chameleon. You've got Kraven the Hunter. So there's a lot to choose from, right? In the first Spider-Man movie, it was Michael Keaton. Keaton's character.
Yeah.
He played the Vulture.
The Vulture. Yeah. Okay.
So there's a lot, but here's the thing. Like a lot of people, going back to Daredevil, right? A lot of people have been like, well, the Kingpin has always been a big character in the Spider-Man comics and movies or shows.
Really? Okay.
So how do you so they're expecting that character to go up against Spider-Man. But here's the problem. It's a fine line because there's two layers of characters in the Marvel universe and in the comics. You have your neighborhood, they're calling them like your Earth heroes, and then you have your universe heroes, right? Because
Okay.
it's obviously power scales, right? I mean, so you've got Spider-Man who's kind of a tweener because they started bringing him into the Avengers movies and stuff where he's battling Thanos and all this kind of stuff. But normally he's the neighborhood Spider-Man. He battles your Kingpins and your Rhinos and your you, those are not global threats, right? Like they don't threaten the Earth.
Yeah,
It's
they're a
destruction.
regional threat. Yeah.
Yeah,
Especially when
right.
Kingpin is the mayor, right? He's the mayor now.
Yeah. So it's like, how do you have Spider-Man fighting Thanos and then struggling to fight the Kingpin? It's hard to do that, right? To make it believable. So I understand why they're not too eager to bring Kingpin's character in against Spider-Man because they've already shown Spider-Man to be extremely powerful,
Well,
right?
the other thing too, I think, is that Vincent D'Onofrio, the guy that plays Kingpin, I mean, he is a really, really good actor,
I agree.
but very dark, right? I mean, he's one of those guys that, I joke that, it's like he plays a really good serial killer. He may actually be a really good serial killer. I mean, he plays the role. I mean, he is like a 10 out of 10, and his role as Kingpin is dark, so I couldn't imagine
Check
putting
that
him
man's
against I mean, you put him against Spider-Man. Spider-Man's such like a good guy. He's just like your neighborhood friendly kid. And then Kingpin is like, he's gonna like he's got, his nemesis chained up in a dungeon. They beats the hell out of him every day. It's like they don't really align in terms of good versus bad. They're on different levels. I agree.
Well, another thing that I found interesting, speaking of different levels, was they brought um, the Punisher into this movie,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
That is
And
interesting.
from the trailer, now I can't confirm any of this, but from the trailer, from what I saw, it looked as though at one point that Punisher steps in and probably saves Spider-Man in some capacity, right?
Yeah.
And tells them you're slipping or something like that, right? Because a lot of people are upset by the trailer. I saw a lot of people online upset about how Spider-Man just kind of easily, discards Frank Castle and tells him to go home, right?
Yeah. It's like let's see this one in real life,
Yeah,
especially when Castle is coming from the battlefield.
yeah. But the thing is that somebody like Castle is like a Batman type character. You give him time and planning to get ready to battle someone like that, it's probably going to kick some arse. That's why Batman, given time and planning, can rival Superman, right? You got him making kryptonite spears and smoke bombs made with kryptonite smoke and all kinds of stuff. And that's the kind of character that the Punisher is, right?
Yeah.
So, and I love the actor that plays the Punisher from The Walking Dead,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Uh, I haven't watched the show yet, but from what I hear,
Really.
it's really dark. So I've been meaning to go watch it.
Yeah. So again, yeah, that I mean it's kind of from that lineup of like the Daredevil type stuff. And I mean, if you were running a tally, it's like a Rambo movie. Like, what's he up to? 300 dead by now, but he's not like a serial killer. But he's just like capping people left and right. It is
Just
kind of
that
like
guy.
that.
Yeah, so I do have to go watch that. I'm actually just finishing up. I'm on the last season of Suits, so once I'm done that, I'll probably watch The Punisher. But I love the character of the Punisher. I love the guy who plays him. So bringing him in finally to the cinematic universe in the movies, I think that's going to be really good. And I've been doing a lot of reading about how they're also looking at bringing in. I can't remember his name either. He plays Daryl on The Walking Dead.
Okay, I don't know him, but I was just thinking it's John Bernthal is the guy playing the Punisher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but the guy who plays, hang on, I'm gonna bring his picture up here because he's coming in to play the new version, from what I understand, of Ghost Rider.
Okay.
Right? Let me see. I'm going to bring up his name here. Norman Reedus. Norman Reedus. Yeah. I don't know if you know him.
No,
He's in the Boondock Saints as well.
I don't know.
Great actor. Right?
Okay, cool.
And I think he would suit the character of the Ghost Rider really, really well. He's just that dark kind of guy. Let me see if I could bring it here. Here's a picture of him. For those watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see. For those listening on Spotify and stuff, so that's him. He's gonna play.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I do think I know him.
Yeah, very familiar face, right?
Yeah, I know him from a few places. I think kind of reminds me of Ned Stark from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Giving off some Ned Stark vibes.
Yeah. So apparently he's going to play a version. So they're bringing the dark characters together, from what I understand. I can't remember what, but there was actually a comic that went for a while with some of those darker characters: the Moon Knight, Ghost Rider, Blade, Red Hulk. I can't remember what they were called. Not Red Hulk. Sorry, Red Hulk was part of the. I can't remember what they're called. The latest movie that they did there. The new Avengers.
The Eternals? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah. No, they were like the rejects, right? Came together like
kind of like the boys.
Yeah, like it was the new guy, like the guy who plays Captain America now, like the white dude, not like in the show, right? Who doesn't actually have serum powers? He just took on the mantle of Captain America. You had the Winter Soldier.
You talking about the Thunderbolts?
Thunderbolts, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I like that movie. That was a great movie. They are rejects.
Yeah,
it's really.
That
funny.
was a good movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
But apparently they're doing something similar, but a darker version. Like I said, they're having these darker characters: Ghost Rider, Blade, stuff like that are going to be in this movie, kind of the darker stuff. So.
Isn't it funny how, Blade, they did multiple movies of. Usually, most of these movies, they do multiple movies, but I feel like Ghost Rider, did they only do one and they just kind of forgot about him?
They did two.
They did two?
Second one was worse than the first one. So
were they both Nick Cage?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. It was so good you forgot they made a second one.
So I guess you can't, hit them all out of the park. I did like him as Dracula, I got to admit.
Here's the thing. I don't blame that on Nicolas Cage. I think it was not a good time to make that movie, right? I would like to see them bring his version of Ghost Rider back as well in the multiverse. That would be cool, because now, I mean, they're spending a lot more on special effects, for example, and stuff like that. Second Ghost Rider movie was awful because of the special effects, and like, if you don't have it, you shouldn't make it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't do it right or don't do it. Don't half-ass the special effects and go Ghost Rider, right? Especially a character like Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider.
Yeah. Like, probably requires a lot more special effects. It's probably difficult to have, a skeleton guy walking around with his hands and his head on fire, right? It's probably pretty complicated even for special effects to kind of do that kind of thing.
You know, it'd be funny if they did a movie where they brought him in as Ghost Rider, but then they also brought him in as Spider-Man Noir in the same movie. That'd be really funny.
Well, I mean, a lot of people are expecting them to bring in to have Robert Downey Jr. playing Doom, but a lot of people are thinking they might go ahead and bring him back as Iron Man in that movie as well.
Boy, that'd be weird.
Yeah, it would be, but we'll have to see what happens, right? Because like that, a lot of people didn't realize that. I think I talked to you about it before. It's like, yes, this Avengers movie is coming. It's the first one where there's no Iron Man, though. There's no Iron Man in this movie.
Yeah.
But it's good that you forget that there's no Iron Man, because you want the movie to still be good. You don't want to be sitting there missing Iron Man. But I think it'll go over well either way. I'm excited because we're back with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, where anything and everything is possible again. And I think there's going to be a lot of shock value. I think there's going to be that. I think we are going to get that moment, like when I was in theaters and watched Avengers Endgame, and that scene opens up where on your left and all the portals open up and like everybody comes out, right?
Yeah.
Goosebumps and tears, man. Right? Like, everybody gets up and screaming. I think we have that coming again. I think we're getting back to that, and I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I think so too. It's funny how with a lot of these things like this, it's like we just need good writing, a good story. You have some nostalgia. You maybe pass the torch a little bit. You introduce somebody new, and you kind of like check all the boxes of like a good movie, And they're definitely capable of doing it. I mean, if anybody is, it's Marvel, right? And how long have we waited for this Spider-Man movie? I feel like the last one was, gosh, a long time ago.
Yeah, it was. They had Jake Gyllenhaal playing Mysterio. That was a few years ago.
Yeah.
I hope they bring him back too. I'm a big Jake Gyllenhaal fan. I love all of
Really?
his movies. Yes, I love his movies. I think he's a phenomenal actor. Brothers, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Brokeback Mountain.
Yeah, but yeah, Brokeback Mountain. Yeah, if you can get past the sex scenes, you're good. Right?
No, with him, I remember he did Bear Grylls show. Did you ever see Bear Grylls show? Like it was like Bear Grylls Wild Man or whatever. And he would every episode he'd have a celebrity. And one of the episodes it was Jake Gyllenhaal. And I don't know if they were in Africa or somewhere random in Europe. I don't know. They're in the middle of nowhere. There's like mountain, like cliff type things. And there's a rope line going from one peak to another. And the distance between, I mean, it was like 200 yards. And Bear Grylls is like, we're crossing it. And Jake Gyllenhaal was like, he's like, yep, we're going over it. And he's like, okay. He's like, all right, I guess this is just one of those moments, right? I just have to go for it. And he's like, yep. He's like, follow my lead. I'll show you what to do. And he kind of like tucks one of his legs behind him. So he's sort of like going across the rope, pulling himself almost like a snake. And sure enough, Jake Gyllenhaal did it. I mean, I don't think he was roped into that thing. I mean, it was just like go. And it's like, if you fell off of that, I mean, it's like certain death. And he actually did it, like it was pretty wild.
He's a ballsy guy. I mean, most people, I know it's a little off topic, but a lot of people didn't like Roadhouse. I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it. And I was watching an interview with Conor McGregor.
Okay.
And he said, like, because a lot of people are like, oh, why would an MMA fighter take a role and go in there and fight an actor and, blah, blah, blah. And Conor McGregor said, in that last scene in the movie where they're fighting, have you seen Roadhouse?
No.
Well, in the last scene where they're fighting, he's like, we were kicking the shit out of each other for real. Like,
really?
He was giving it as good as he was getting it. He said,
okay.
He says, Jake Gyllenhaal's no joke, man. Don't,
Well, he did that movie at one point. I think it was called Southpaw, where he was like a boxer, and he was legit. I mean, he was like a real boxer,
Yeah, there's a lot of actors out there that people don't realize that they're like serious. Like I watched what's that podcast? Why can't I think of anyone's name today? Seth Rogen podcast.
Yeah.
And he talked about Kevin James.
Hmm.
Because Kevin James did that MMA movie comedy, Here Comes the Pain.
Yeah.
Right. And he said about Kevin James, he said, he's no joke. Like, he could wreck ass, right? And that's coming from somebody like him, right?
Yeah.
So Joe Rogan, not Seth Rogen, Joe Rogan. That's coming from someone like Joe Rogan, right? Who in himself could wreck ass and has been around, spent most of his career around guys in the UFC who can wreck ass. So if anyone knows whether a guy's legit or not, it would be him.
Yeah.
He's like, but you wouldn't think that when you look at Kevin James.
Right. Right.
But apparently he's an accomplished MMA fighter. So,
Speaking of actors like that, I don't know if you've seen the movie. I think it was called The Iron Claw. I think is what it was, with Zac Efron, where he's one of the wrestling brothers.
Yeah.
He'd be pretty cool to bring into Marvel at some point, because he played a hell of a wrestler. I mean, my God, I was looking at him like, wow, like he looks totally different, you know?
Yeah. He was on Baywatch with The Rock as well. And
yeah.
He can get jacked for sure, right?
Yeah. I think he'd be worthy of it. You know, there's a few people out there that they probably could bring into Marvel and to play, you know, some of these roles. And I mean, you know, at the end of the day, like you and I are always talking about this, like I think sometimes the actors sort of they get bored with the role, or they get bored with the story or whatever. But then the reality is like, that's like the peak of your career. I mean, take it for what it's worth. I mean, keep playing the character. I mean, come on, you know, even if it's in a limited way or cameos, I mean, you can keep doing it. Yeah, like I almost don't understand like why they ended like Captain America. Can't think of his name, but why like he stopped, you know, and Robert Downey kind of stopped at the same time. Like, yeah, they're just sort of done. But I almost felt like they could have kept them going, you know.
They actually brought him back. He's playing Captain America again in Doom. Yeah, Chris Evans.
Chris Evans, yes, yeah. I mean, he was excellent at Captain America.
Yeah, I think. Excuse me. I think what happened was I think that you saw a generation of actors who built up the Marvel Cinematic Universe were trying to pass the torch, and I just don't think it didn't work.
Yeah, like there wasn't a good handoff, or they tried to do too many at once. And I think what was weird about it was, you know, like I feel like Bucky's the character that doesn't die, that just kind of keeps coming back again and again and again. And it's like he's in another movie. But, you know, Chris Evans was really the star of that. And he just sort of like gone, you know?
Yeah. I think that what happened was, as actors, I think that those guys probably just wanted a break.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, those two were making Marvel movies. And it wasn't like, specifically Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. were these characters. And they were in every Avengers movie. They were doing cameos in the other movies. They were doing their own movies, you know, their own Iron Man and Captain America movies. So it was a lot of work, right, for them, and the schedule was probably pretty full. So I think that probably what happened is they probably just wanted to slow down for a little while, and then now that they've had that break, it's like, okay, you know what, I missed this, let's go, right?
That could be true. You know, like usually, you know, those road kind of jobs are great when you're young, but then you have that point in your life that you want to have a family, you have kids, you just can't be away all the time filming in some exotic location, you know?
Yeah, so it's nice to see them all coming back, but Chris Hemsworth, he just that guy's got no quit in him. He's
just keep bringing him back. I love him. Keep bringing him back. Making Fat Thor, loved it. You know,
he's fantastic. Yeah, he's got this sense of humor too, right? Where it's like that scene in I think it was the last Thor movie that's like a meme now, where what's his name? The guy who plays the leader of the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Chris Pratt?
Chris Pratt is like, you know, he's explaining to him, yeah, you know, like you got to find the people who love you and stuff like that. And, you know, Chris Pratt's trying to look at the crew, and Thor's just like this, getting in his walking. Me?
Yeah.
He's a great character. He plays it well, and he's a young dude. He's in fantastic shape, and I hope he doesn't stop. I really hope he continues to come back as Thor, even if they don't do Thor movies individually anymore. But keep bringing him back in the Avengers movies, kind of thing, right? That would be awesome. Don't ever kill his character off. I think he's amazing. I think he's fantastic as
So
the
what do you think
character.
of Tom Holland? Do you think he just needed a break between Spider-Man movies, or do you think what do you think happened there that they took such a long time between movies?
Well, they were going in another direction. They like the Loki series, for example, was a pivot,
Yeah.
right? Where they were pivoting to Kang, right? And there wasn't really in the storyline. There wasn't really like a spot for the Spider-Man movies. I think at that time they were trying to, lay the groundwork for a long saga of storyline with the Kang, Conqueror Kang, right? And then, and like Loki, for example, was a great show, and it set up that 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 whole platform so well, and then they just flushed it down the toilet because one guy decided to commit domestic violence or whatever the hell it was,
Yeah.
and then they just pivoted off the whole thing. Luckily, they're able to salvage what happened in Loki, and that, which I keep telling you, before you watch Doomsday, you need to go watch Loki because
No.
it's key to what's happening
I got to see season 2. I saw season 1, but season 2 I have not seen.
Yeah, season 2 is like a big one, so I might go back and watch it again. Loki was. What do you think of season 1?
Season 1 I had a hard time with, I got to be honest. Out of the Marvel shows, my favorite one was Hawkeye. I really liked Hawkeye. I thought it was easy to follow everything. Loki, there were points I was just sort of like nodding off. I'd have to like ask my wife, like, what the hell is going on? Like, I don't understand. And the timekeepers, and where are we? And what are we doing here? And my son would be like, you're just not paying attention. Like, like he's all official, and I was just like, I don't know. So I know it finally ended, and I was just kind of like, well, that was out there. And then I haven't seen season 2 yet, but
Season 2 is good, and it sets up what's happening moving forward. So, like the timekeepers.
Yeah. What did you think of the Moon Knight? Are they still doing anything with that, or did they just cancel it?
Well, they had announced when they released Moon Knight that it was completely separate from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and nothing that happens in that show is going to be a part of the Marvel movie storyline. Yeah, they said it when it came out. So I watched like 1 or 2 episodes, and for what it was, I was like, it's not bad, but I couldn't. I like you just said, if it wasn't continuing a storyline, I was just like, I don't really care about this, right?
Yeah. Okay. All right. Were you going to say something about the timekeepers?
Well, the timekeepers, yeah, they play a massive role in what's happening next in all of the Marvel movies. It's a very important plot point. So, and it all comes together or begins with Loki season 2. So,
okay. Well, you heard it here, folks. Loki season 2 is a must. If you haven't seen it, gotta watch it.
It might even affect the Spider-Man movie. There might be parts of it that are, that are taking effect in there. So who knows? So, but they're setting the stage for Battle Planet and Doomsday, and so.
I did like Owen Wilson in it. I really liked him. I thought he was great.
Yeah, he's a funny guy too. Yeah, I'm surprised they gave him such a role, but whatever, it is what it is. He was great in it. He did a good job. So yeah, and just how he, his quirkiness as a character softens Loki, which was great.
So okay, so to sum up today's episode on Spider-Man, what do you think's going down in this movie, and where are they going with it?
I think that there's a lot that's going to happen in this movie, and that's setting up key plot points moving forward that are not in the trailer. I think they're going to take people by surprise with a lot of stuff, and you're going to get a shock factor in this movie. That's what I truly believe.
I could see that, and I feel like Spider-Man popularity wise has got to be near the top for all of their different titles. So they're going to throw some curveballs in this movie that we're all going to go, oh, no one can believe it. I could see that coming, especially building up to Doomsday.
Yeah. I think at the end of this movie, and this is just my best guess, I think that they're going to set up the next Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man versus Venom. I think they're going to set that up at the end of this movie. I think Venom's going to show up, whether it's right at the end of the movie or in the after credit scenes or something like that. And that's going to segue into the next Spider-Man movie, 2 years down the road, whenever they release it, right? Because Tom Holland did sign on for three more Spider-Man movies.
Oh, wow. Okay.
After he did the third one. So this is just the fourth one coming out now. It's just two more Spider-Man movies he's playing in after this one. Plus, he's going to play Spider-Man in the Avengers movies, right?
Do you think they're going to try and sort of like right the wrong of the plot that now Mary Jane doesn't know him, his friend doesn't know him? Do you think they're going to try and fix that, or are they just going to let this thing go and see where it happens to go from there?
Not in this movie. I do think that they will correct that at some point, but not in this movie. I think they did that on purpose. One of the reasons they did it was so that they could hone in on his character by himself for a while and get the Scooby Squad out of there. I think that, again, the maturation of his character going from boy to man, I think they want that to be the focus. And you can't have that while he's acting like a kid with Ned, right? Mm. And I think that also Ned is segueing into becoming the Hobgoblin.
Oh.
Right? In the last Spider-Man movie, because in the comics, that's who the Hobgoblin is, Spider-Man's former best friend, Ned.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Okay.
And there was some Easter eggs in the last Spider-Man movie, because Tobey Maguire talks about how his best friend became the Green Goblin. Right? And the Hobgoblin actually kind of comes to fruition because of the Green Goblin. Right? If you notice, they're very similar characters. He flies around on his thing and shoots the pumpkin bombs and stuff like that. And Ned was actually, when Tobey Maguire's character was explaining this to Ned was actually wearing the Hobgoblin's colors in his clothing. And then he turns to Tom Holland Spider-Man and says, "Don't worry, I'll never turn evil and become your enemy." But he doesn't know who Tom Holland is, who Peter Parker is anymore.
Right.
And
that kind of reminds me, this might just be a sidebar tangent, but did you ever see, I think it was like the Green Arrow? Was that part of Marvel?
No, that's DC. He was friends with
Was
the
that
Flash.
DC? Okay. Yeah. Okay, never mind then. Scratch that. We're going to edit that out of the episode.
Sorry, Marvel people.
We didn't talk about DC, the other comic brand that shall not be named.
Yeah. Sauron.
Yeah.
There was one more little key Easter egg, was that in the comics, one of the things that gave away Ned as the Hobgoblin was that he had minor sorcery powers like Doctor Strange. Ooh. And they introduced that in the last Spider-Man movie, where Ned actually uses the ring to open portals, Doctor Strange's ring. You have to have latent abilities to do that from his family, right? So it all kind of is leading to Ned turning into the Hobgoblin moving forward as well.
Okay, then.
So I honestly, and hey, this is just something that just came to me, okay? I'm not saying I read this anywhere. It just came to me. One theory I have, as of 5 minutes ago, is that Ned and Mary Jane are close friends. Peter Parker's not part of the picture, right? They're so happy, hanging out. I think, my theory, maybe Ned is in love with her. They kill her off, which sends him into becoming the Hobgoblin.
Whoa, that's kind of dark. Whoa.
I don't know. I'm just saying, right?
Really stirring the pot on that one. That one might
What I do,
offend some
baby.
people.
It would make sense, right? I mean, it could be a factor. So, and I
Okay.
mean, throughout the movie, they in the trailer they showed how she was making out with or having some sort of romantic engagement with Flash, and maybe that's pushing Ned over the edge as well.
Hmm. Okay. I don't
A
know.
lot
We
of
got some drama bubbling under the surface, huh?
lot of ways they could cause Ned to, because how else is Ned going to get pushed over that edge
Yeah. Good point.
without some sort of monumental loss? Because as a whole, his character is not a bad person, right? You are who you are, whether you know Peter or not. He was a good, wholesome human being,
Right.
right?
Right.
And just because Peter's not in his life, I don't think is enough for him to go from being a good dude to a psycho. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Something has to happen there. But remember, with the Green Goblin, wasn't it something with like the mask or something that he put on, and then he'd hear the voices?
Yeah, there was a split personality after breathing in the gas that gave him
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
so
I got
could
to
be,
say, William Defoe, he's another one of those guys. You're like, wow, he plays a really great, insane character. And it's like, maybe he's kind of an insane character. You know what I
he
mean?
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. Well, I guess we'll find out because the movie comes out July 31st. I'm excited about it. I'm kind of hoping they drop one more trailer because I'd like to see that. But there's a lot in it. There's a lot to unpack, and I'm looking forward to unpacking more Marvel movies moving forward. It's a shame that Doomsday is not coming out until like December,
Yeah.
but we could have a look at some of the trailers as they come out and talk about those for sure. But let us know, guys, if you want us to talk clearly just by views and downloads. The last Marvel podcast we did was by far and away the most popular. So,
Well, truthfully, I think something that you and I both probably need to watch is Daredevil Born Again. And I already saw season one, and I don't know if season two is still being released. I think I saw the first episode or two of season two, and it was excellent again. And so that's one that we probably need to dedicate like a whole hour to, because that show's awesome.
well, why don't we do this? Because I haven't watched. I watched like the first episode a while back, so I'd have to even rewatch the first episode. There's something about him and some other dude fighting at a bar, and they end up on the roof or something. It was pretty gory and
Yeah,
pretty cool action scene.
that was
But
both.
I got
Yeah.
yeah, so I got to get back into that, and I'll watch that again. So why don't I watch that, and then maybe we'll start to unpack the Daredevil series.
Okay. That would be awesome. I got to admit, out of all the Marvel stuff that they've put out, I honestly think Daredevil is probably my favorite series of all of them.
See,
I
you're
don't.
putting it up on a pedestal for me now, and I've got to see it now.
God, it's good. It's gritty. It's dark. I mean, I remember in the original ones that were on Netflix. I mean, there were certain episodes I was like, how are they going to top this? And then it would just be this insane episode, and I was like, what? I just
Like
couldn't
that.
believe it.
All right. Well, yeah, I'll watch it. I'll watch as many episodes as I can between now and Sunday, and we'll dig into it a little bit.
Yeah,
Don't
let's do
spoil
it.
anything for me.
Okay, well, no spoilers. Don't tell me anything about Loki season 2. Nothing.
All right, guys, this concludes our broadcast day. We will be back on Sunday. We'll be talking some Daredevil Born Again. So hopefully you guys like the Marvel stuff. Let us know if you want more Marvel stuff. If there's a specific Marvel movie or show you want us to unpack, let us know. And we will most certainly do that. But for now, we'll see you guys in the next one. God
Till
bless.
next time. Yep. Shift out.